Today I will explain Kuberaa film in short, so let's see. The story begins with a rich businessman from Mumbai, Neeraj Mitra, who was the owner of a big company called Global Enterprise. Neeraj had many businesses, especially in the energy production field, and he was currently working with the government to find a new source of oil in India, for which his company's workers were digging in a part of the Bay of Bengal, that is, a part of the Indian Ocean, for some years, because he himself wanted to become the richest man in the world with his help. That's why he first kills all the workers of that oil department so that this news does not leak. And then that same night, he goes alone and meets the Petroleum Minister of India, who was a corrupt politician. Neeraj tells him to privatize that oil reserve and give it to his company. That minister agrees to this, and in return, he asks Neeraj for 1 lakh crore rupees, because to privatize that oil reserve, it was necessary to give money to many politicians. Neeraj agrees to this deal, but it was very difficult to get such a large amount to those leaders, and for this, he needed an expert man who was trustworthy. Then Neeraj's father tells him that only one man can do this, whose name is Deepak Tej, who was previously a CBI officer. He was very smart and honest too. But his same quality had harmed a minister, because of which he trapped Deepak in a false case. He was sentenced to 10 years, and he has been in jail for 5 years. That's why Neeraj Mitra and his father, Deepak Tej, think of getting him out of jail and getting him to do his work. Then Neeraj goes to jail and meets Deepak, and asks him to work with him by giving him the greed for freedom. But Deepak did not want to do this illegal work, and he was hopeful that he would be proven innocent and freed from honesty. That's why he refuses Neeraj. Then after a few days when Deepak is heard in court, his sentence is not forgiven. Instead, he is told to stay in jail for 10 more years. Then Deepak's trust in justice is lost, and he joins hands with Neeraj to go back to his family. Then Neeraj gets Deepak released from jail, and he gives him a lot of money and a good house in Mumbai. After this, the real game begins, where Neeraj tells Deepak that he has to send 1 lakh crore rupees to some people. Half of the money is in cash, and the other half is online. But Neeraj does not tell him why he has to send that money to someone else. And those politicians were not directly taking money in their accounts. They had made their names, meaning they were taking money through other people. That's why Deepak tells Neeraj that he will have to make his name who has nothing to do with him so that the law does not suspect Neeraj. But it was very risky to give so much money to an unknown person because he could cheat. That's why Deepak decides to make some beggars Neeraj's name, because beggars are illiterate, because of which they cannot do anything wrong. That's why Deepak tells Neeraj to gather 4 beggars. Then Neeraj's men go to 4 different cities and bring each beggar from there on the pretext of giving a job, who were not very old and who were fit with body and mind. 3 of them make a pen and voting card and start training them, where they are given good clothes, they are taught to live and eat, and the most important thing is to sign documents. Then Neeraj gives Deepak 1 lakh crore rupees, from which half of the money is sent to the ministers in different ways, and the rest of the money is deposited in the Swiss bank account of the beggars. Then fake companies are opened in the name of those 4, with which they will invest their money in India, and then that black money will become white. In this way, first money comes in the account of those beggars, and then Deepak starts sending money to those unnamed ministers one by one. First of all, an online transaction is made with Kelu. Deepak's plan was that after the work is done, those 4 should be sent back to their own cities. But Neeraj wanted to kill those beggars in the end so that his kingdom does not open by mistake. This was the reason that after Kelu's transaction, Neeraj's men kill him. After this, Dibia's transaction takes place, and he is also killed. Meanwhile, Neeraj's one man, Robo, who used to handle those beggars, he tries to rape Khushbu, Then Deva fights with him and stops him, and he tells this to Deepak. But Deepak does nothing about it. Because anyway, those beggars were about to die. After this, it is the turn of Deva's transaction. Then Deepak takes his biometric scan and sends him with Robo, whose job was to take them away and kill them. But he starts beating Deva on the way, which makes Deva think that Deepak has sent him to kill him. But somehow Deva escapes from him and thinks that he had mistakenly trusted Deepak. And then he reaches a station in Dulkonda where he falls unconscious. Then a girl named Samira comes there and gives him water and chocolates. Samira had run away from home to Mumbai for her boyfriend, but her boyfriend cheating her, so she tries to die here. Then Deva saves her. Then he takes Samira's phone and calls Deepak. Deva thought that Robo is bad, but Deepak is a good man who will help him. But Deepak's phone was kept in the car, so Deva could not talk to him. But his voice is recorded in Deepak's voicemail. After this, Samira starts leaving from there. Then Deva asks her to take a lift to a mosque so that she can go there and eat food.
So Samira drops him from her rickshaw to Haji Ali Dargah, and she herself goes to her friend's house. On the other hand, Deepak gets a missed call on his phone, and Deva's voice is heard on the voicemail. So he tracks that number and goes to Samira, which tells him where he had left Deva. Then Deepak's companions reach Haji Ali, but Deva runs away after seeing Robo there. Then he starts looking for Neeraj's guest house in Mumbai, where all those beggars were kept. Meanwhile, he bumps into Samira again and asks her for help. But she does not listen to him because Deepak had come to his friend's house for an enquiry because of Deva. That's why he was thrown out of there, and now Samira was going to stay in a ladies' hostel. Deva sees that hostel and then he goes back to that guest house. But there he sees that Deepak and Robo are talking to each other. Now Neeraj got to know that Deva ran away from them. That's why he wants Deepak to find him soon, because he had 10,000 crore rupees in his account, which was to be given to the ministers. That's why Deepak reaches Tirupati in search of Deva. And from there he calls Samira and asks her about Deva, but she does not tell him anything because she understood that his intentions are wrong. Then Deva gets discharged from the hospital and he thinks of going back to Tirupati from Mumbai. But Samira refuses him because she realized that Deepak is in Tirupati. That's why Deva decides to meet Big Boss, that is Neeraj, for his security. Because he thought that everyone else was bad and Neeraj would be good. But he did not have Neeraj's address or phone number. Then Deva remembers that he went to a registry office of Kanvi village with Deepak for money transfer, where the registrar had given him his card. That's why Deva thinks that the registrar must know Neeraj for sure. That's why he goes to Kanvi village alone by bus. After his departure, Deepak comes to Samira's hotel and interrogates her, but she lies to him that she did not meet Deva. Then Deepak sees a box of money there which Deva had given him. This makes Deepak understand that Samira is lying. When Deva reaches that registry office, he finds out that that registrar is dead. Actually, Neeraj had killed that man to erase the evidences. Then the people of that office call the police there, who arrest Deva and interrogate him. Because the police had a doubt that Deva had killed that registrar. But then Deva shows the police inspector the house of that registrar where Neeraj had kept a lot of money. After seeing this money, after listening to Deva and adding all the evidences, that inspector understands that someone has made Deva his enemy and through him a politician has been given money. Now Deva also came to know that he has crores of rupees in his account, that's why they're after him. Then Deepak and his companions come there, who call themselves as CBI officers. But Deva tells the inspector that they are bad and want to kill him. That's why the inspector shows them a gun and asks about this conspiracy. Then Deepak kills the inspector out of fear because he came to know a lot of things. After seeing this, Deva gets very scared and tries to break that building and die. But he hangs from a tree and escapes. Then he runs away from there. On the other hand, Deepak was regretting that he had killed a good policeman. Then he gradually understands that why Neeraj is sending that money to someone else. And because of this oil scam, he has killed many people so far. That's why now Deepak decides to leave Neeraj. And he plans to open his poll, for which he collects a lot of evidences against Neeraj. And now he was just looking for Deva so that he can expose this fraud. In the meantime, Deepak sends his family to Dubai so that they do not suffer any loss. On the other hand, Deva meets Samira and tells her that he has crores of rupees in his name, that's why Neeraj and Deepak are after him. Then Deva starts leaving from there. But only then he realizes that when the inspector of Kanvi came to know the truth about Deva, he was killed. And because now Samira also knew that Deva has a lot of money in his account, that's why her life was also in danger. That's why Deva tells her to come with him. That's when Neeraj's goons come there and they try to catch Samira and Deva. Then they both run away from there and go very far. On the way, they see a dead beggar whom some people were going to throw in the garbage. Then Deva stops them and thinks of cremating that corpse. But he did not have money. Then he takes Samira to the house of the dead registrar and takes out a lot of money from there with which he cremates that beggar and also helps many beggars. Then Deva thinks that if he has a lot of money, he can do good to the beggars of the whole country and can improve their lives. That's why now he decides to get the money that was deposited in his name. Then he calls Deepak and tells him that he needs 10,000 crore rupees, which is present in his account, so that he can help all the beggars. Hearing this, Neeraj gets very angry. Then Deva tells Deepak that he wants to meet him because he was the one who could withdraw money from his account. That's why he tells Deepak to come to a deserted place. Then Deepak and many people go there to catch him. Then Deva quietly kidnaps Deepak and then he and Samira tell him to withdraw money from his account. On this, Deepak tells him to set him free because he has changed and wants to
punish Neeraj, for which he has a lot of evidence. But both of them do not listen to him, and Deva tells him that the rich do not care about the poor and they will kill him like Khelu, Dibya and Khushbu. Then they release Deepak, who takes him to an orphanage and introduces him to Khushbu, who was safe. Then Neeraj's goons track Deepak's phone and reach there and they try to kill Khushbu, Deva and Samira. But now Deepak supports them and he kills all the goons, but in the end, he himself is also killed. Apart from this, Khushbu also dies in that fight, and while dying, his child is born, which Samira picks up. On the other hand, Deepak had given his phone and a bag to Deva, which had evidence against Neeraj. Then Samira and Deva kill Khushbu and Deepak and they take the child and leave. Then they get an address and a key in Deepak's bag where a lot of money was kept. But now Deva did not want that money. He just wanted to teach Neeraj a lesson because many people were killed because of him and he hated beggars. That's why Samira and Deva fill that money in a truck and throw it in front of Neeraj's house, due to which the media people reach there and Neeraj is defamed. Apart from this, Samira sends a pen drive to Neeraj's house in which Deepak's video recording was there and he was giving testimony against Neeraj in it. Then Deva calls Neeraj from Deepak's phone and says that he has a lot of evidence against him, which Neeraj was ready to do anything to get. Then Deva says that if he wants that evidence, then he will have to beg as a beggar for a day. First, Neeraj does not agree for it, but later he really becomes a beggar and tells his men to stay around him and look for Deva. Then Neeraj roams around as a beggar all day and Deva keeps an eye on him, but he does not get caught by anyone. Then at night, Deva deceives his men and surrounds Neeraj alone, and he and Samira tell him that now he understood the value of a beggar's life. But Neeraj was still as cruel and he tries to get Deva and Khushbu's child married, but at the end of this fight, he himself is killed by Deva, and like this, a millionaire dies in the state of a beggar and a beggar man becomes a millionaire because he still had 10,000 crores in his account. Then Deva and Samira adopt that child and name him Kuberaa. On the other hand, the petroleum minister, who had taken a lot of money from Neeraj for that oil reserve, again makes a deal to sell that oil reserve to someone else for 1 lakh crores, meaning corruption was still there. So friends, this was the explanation of the Kuberaa movie. If you like this video, then do like and share it, and to watch such interesting videos, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so that you can get our videos on time.